there really wasn't any other way to get around consolidating the schools. We had to, the state has some requirements to make the schools eligible for things like capital improvements, that you have to have a certain capacity. But through the discovery period when SOS first started to get together, Robbie Bear, Francoise Sullivan was in at the beginning, Rebecca Harris-Smith was in at the beginning, and we were investigating, like, where's the money coming from, where's it going. My background was in business process, so when I looked at the school budget, I was amazed at how little fat there was. Because my first instinct is, well, there must be something that we, maybe they just need somebody with a business background to go in and look, and there was no fat there. One of the things that I think that is a huge problem that we discovered early on is the funding formula, which is the maintenance of effort, which says that the county is allowed to take away a certain amount of money every time we lose a student. So no matter what amount of money it costs, there's a baseline cost to run the school system, but maintenance of effort doesn't take that into account. Maintenance of effort says it doesn't make any difference how much it costs to run the school system, this is how much money you get. So we're running into a situation where in 2009, in actual dollars, our county was putting forward $17 million. In 2018-19 school year, this year, the county is putting forward just under $17 million in maintenance of effort. There's another 50 or 60,000, I believe it is, in non-recurring that they're throwing in. But if you're going, that doesn't even account for inflation. How do you maintain the quality of services? How do you maintain the salaries? How do you maintain even the staffing levels? You don't. The county has to approve the school budget every year, but in prior years, they've essentially said this is what you're going to get, and so the school board has gone back to the drawing board and said this is what we're going to get, so this is how we make it work. We finally have reached a point where they can't do that. So the Board of Ed went back and asked for an additional $800,000, in large part to cover teacher salary increases, step increases, and also to raise the starting salary for starting teachers, for first-year teachers, to recruit them into the county. I either went to or watched online pretty much every one of the budget hearings this year. We try to have somebody in the room, but that's often not possible. And every single department head in the county put together a budget for their department, put together reasoning for it. The school board was called before the commissioners on multiple occasions to talk about their budget. And on the last budget hearing, the 3 county commissioners said, you know what? Let's just give everybody what they got last year. What was the point of the whole dog and pony show? Not just with education, but just watching some of the other department heads having to explain some pretty basic things. Like we have a new public works person now, but the public works director from before having to explain that he would rather have the materials that he needs to do his job than another dump truck. Like, I can't afford to buy stuff to put in the dump truck if you buy the dump truck, and having to negotiate that, it seems like just basic. Like, why is that something that even needs discussion or explaining? Here's what they said: I'm not taking away from the other departments to give money to schools, and we need to keep at least $2 million in the county fund balance. They have planned on 3.7, but they don't want to touch that. They've decided to keep that they're not going to invest in education in that way, and that the school's just going to have to figure it out.
So, status quo.
Yeah, pretty much across the board. There was very little fluctuation in the budget. They said just give everybody what they got last year. I mean, I'm not for nothing, but I want my elected officials to think a little bit harder than that and put a little bit more work into it.
Yeah.
We're about an issue. Our issue is education. So I don't care what party that you're in. I don't care. We don't care. What we care about is electing people who are going to do the work, who are going to look at the budget and not just say, you know what, you got 38% last year, you're getting 38% this year, and no matter how big the pie is. I want somebody who's going to say what we're doing isn't working. It's not, and it's not just not working for the schools. It's not working. It's dysfunctional in a lot of ways. How can we move forward in a different way than we're moving now? You know, it's 21st century.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of things on paper. You know, we're doing a lot of things the hard way. Like, how can we put a better face forward with marketing ourselves, not just the schools, but the county? How can we do things differently? So we're looking at somebody who's got a plan for what to do for the schools. We're looking at does somebody have an idea about how to get people to want to live in Kent County? You know, who's going to do work at the as an elected official to cut through whatever the barriers are that can be done governmentally to get people to live here, to get the schools the funding that they need. You know, I don't really care about the politics of the person. I care about whether they're going to make these efforts.
So